in St. Paul, Minnesota, years and years ago, this is like 20 years ago, okay? They did this weird regulation. And this is a case where government intervention creates something crazy that's kind of cool.
Right.
Okay. St. Paul did not like having topless clubs. Okay, that's crazy enough. So they write legislation,
That's
but
somebody's business.
they write the legislation stupid. Just like they did with the riverboat thing,
Typo.
you know. It's no, not typo, but it's got to be on water.
Right.
Okay, so you can put a garden hose. You know, you put you put water in your shoes. You can run 3-card Monte. You know, that's that kind of thing. They write the thing that way. So they put this rule in that you can't have topless women in the same room with alcohol. All right. I guess because if breasts touch alcohol, there's some sort of nuclear explosion or sarin gas or something, right? I don't know what happens. I've never been one that pours vodka over a hooker's breasts, but apparently someone did that once, and there was a nuclear explosion. So you can't have. So they write
So to
this.
protect the innocents.
Yeah, they write
government
this.
writes
They
a
write
law.
this legislation. This is the way they write it.
Yeah,
Like this.
sure.
See what my fingers are doing? That's what they write.
They're
it.
very fast typists.
And so the other side, the weasels they've created. Because
Right.
what happens is it's like, boom, you create a weasel. You write legislation and
Right.
there's a weasel right away. A weasel going, how can we get around this? You know what I mean?
Right.
The letter, not the spirit. The margins. How do we wiggle in there? You know. So in this case, the people that were weasels were also geniuses, and they create what's called the best ass under glass. That's the slogan. Best ass under glass. And Joe Kudla, who was Snot of Puke and Snot.
Okay,
the
sure.
fencers
Of course.
that worked at the Renaissance Festival.
Absolutely.
He's dead now. A wonderful man. Joe Kudla, one of the greatest people who ever lived.
And a
Joe,
fine show. Very good act.
Great act. They did Shakespeare jokes at a Renaissance Festival while fencing. And although the fencing fell away as they got older, and they just kind of waved swords at each other. But early
There are
on,
several
was
examples of that.
yeah, they were like jumping over each other
Right.
and stuff. But they got older and just started quoting Shakespeare while
Right.
banging their swords together.
Like the Jolly Jovers.
Was it?
The Jolly Jovers. Remember the Jolly
No,
Jovers?
not at all.
You remember that act? The acrobat act.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah,
They used to do handstands, and as they got older, they just laughed. so, you know, a
Joe
60-year-old
Kudla-
woman climbed onto her husband's shoulders,
yeah.
laughing.
Yeah.
That was their act.
And it was great.
And it
It's
was
a great.
great.
It's
It
on
was better
YouTube.
than
It's great.
whenever they were.
You'll put that up ready. We'll find. You'll put it up.
Put up
right?
a Jolly Jovers link.
Yeah, they'll love that.
Let's share our
the
friends.
people will love that. They love that. We know what the people love, and that's it.
Yeah.
So they created this.
40-year-old variety acts from Vegas.
I love them.
Haven't worked?
Did
Yeah.
you ever see them live?
I didn't see them live, no.
We saw
but
them
I always
live.
heard about them.
They're wicked good.
Yeah.
You know, they would say, have you ever seen old people do acrobatics before? And it was really sweet and kind and great. But they weren't weasels. These guys in St. Paul were weasels. And Joe Kudla took me to this place. I couldn't believe it. And what these weasels had done, these weeniuses, is they had their bar, and then next door to it, they bought the next room. Okay? And they called it a private aerobic studio club. Okay? Then they put in an entire wall of glass, right? And then you had cocktail waitresses, and they would come around and, you know, whatever they were allowed to wear, hot pants and, you know, whatever you'd work at Hooters with or something. And they would serve their drinks, and then they would have a break. And they would go over to the next room, the next building. They had to go out the door, in the front door, and back in the door, and then they would strip off all their clothes. And it was like going to a woman's zoo. It had this real creepiness, you know? And sometimes creepiness and sexiness, well, they may be the same thing.